Call this meeting to order with the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Carr.
Here.
Carr here. Pittman. Pittman absent. Slattery. Slattery absent. Poulos.
Here.
Poulos here. Johnson. Here. Johnson here. Frausto.
Here.
Frausto here. Bellato. Bellato absent. Vieira.
Here.
Vieira here. Rita.
Here.
Rita here. Donahue. Donahue absent. Hawley.
Here.
Hawley here. Farnwell. Farnwell absent. Osling.
Here.
Osling here. Thompson.
Here.
Thompson here. 10 persons. Broke 9 persons.
Thank you very much. Next, we move on to the presentation of journal proceedings. I need a motion to approve the city council minutes. This is for the date of October the 23rd, 2018. Motion by Alderman Poulos. We have a second by Alderman Carr. Any questions? Roll call.
Carr.
Aye.
Carr, aye. Poulos.
Aye.
Poulos, aye. Johnson.
Aye.
Johnson, aye. Frausto.
Aye.
Frausto, aye. Vieira.
Aye.
Vieira, aye. Rita.
Aye.
Rita, aye. Hawley.
Aye.
Hawley, aye. Osling.
Aye.
Osling, aye. Thompson.
Aye.
Thompson, aye. 9 ayes.
Thank you very much. The next segment is open for public comment. Again, I would request that you come to the podium and we'll try to limit it to 3 minutes and normally stuff on the agenda, but you have the podium.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I have a complaint. My daughter got a citation on her car for she lives in Peoria, and she comes in and out to help me with my mother. To me, that's an invasion of privacy. And plus, you got to call every single day. That's not working with me, that's working against me. Because I may forget to call. And so that's to me, and then you try $50 for a citation for someone to park on my block, as they say. So I'm just trying to understand, why is this, I don't understand this.
It's been a law that was passed by the city council. have gone
This is an
through-
invasion of privacy. Did you all think of that?
Well, that's what the committee wanted, that's what the city council passed. We do have, I guess, they could address it or try to address it with municipal services or the police, public health and safety. You want to
You got
take
it.
their meetings.
I can understand some of it sometimes, but you gotta call every single day. Why can't I just say, well, my daughter's gonna be here for the next 2 weeks, blah, blah, Skippy, my mother's sick, and she's gonna be here now. But I gotta call every day.
That's been the policy. Unfortunately, we would have to go back to committee if they wanted to readdress it or change it. So again, I want to welcome you to either public health and safety or municipal services and try to bring that up so they can reopen that issue.
So when will that be?
Alderman?
The next public safety meeting is December 11th.
December the 11th?
Yeah, at
Thank
6
you.
o'clock. Right
Here?
Right here.
If you want.
I think that would fall under Alderman Carr's.
Yeah, that will start there, and if needed, we'll come to you. All right, thank you.
Okay,
Thank
thank
you
you.
very much.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Ophelia Smith Evans. The parcel in question is 13102 Southwestern Avenue. It is the proposed banquet facility. I started this journey with the village back in January of 2018 to open a banquet facility. I have to start off by saying that I own a real estate company. I've owned a construction company, and I deal a lot with real estate. So I know firsthand to do my due diligence and come to the municipality to make sure that I'm able to go forward with whatever I'm trying to do within that village. And that's what I did. So I come to the village. I called the village first to find out who I'm to talk
It's
with.
the city.
The city, forgive me, please.
Thank you.
So I come to the city, I call the city, find out the appropriate person that I'm to speak with. I come in, I meet with that person, with my husband and also one of the people from the building department. I get the green light, yes, you can. This is definitely an area that you can have your banquet facility. We talked about parking. He's let me know there's a parking lot behind me with 96 parking spots. There's one across the street with 30 plus parking spots. There's street parking. Okay, so they took me through the entire process. I went and I showed him some preliminary drawings of the banquet facility. He wasn't interested in that. I came back with the owner of the building. The issue was the owner. So when I first came in, everybody in the building department was telling me very derogatory things about this owner. Don't do business with him, yada, yada. That wasn't my concern. He was very cordial to me. He was respectful. He was professional. I had no problems with him. But the issue throughout this entire process has been the owner of the building. And it was because I believe the building was left as an eyesore for 10 years or so. And so now he's trying to run this right. Anyway, I come in. So to try to push this story along, I've met with the village on many occasions. I've met with the building department. I met with the mayor, spoke with the mayor not too long ago, him and Mark Marzell. They're in the meeting. You know, we're really talking about plans to be managing this building. Also talking with investors about purchasing the entire building, to be managing the building. So we're talking about pop-up stores just to bring some synergy into the area. Pop-up stores for Christmas, Halloween, things like that. We're even talking about putting a second layer on the parking lot back there. So we're talking a lot. The mayor's telling me I've got somebody for you to talk to about this. You know, everything is A-okay. Throughout the process, I have to tell you, I had to call the alderman because, the process has been moving pretty slowly. They've been holding things. Other people within the municipality have been moving forward. I started before them, but I know a lot has to do with the owner. So I met with the mayor. We talked about it. Again, Mark Marzell, everything is fine. Make sure this is taken care of. I'm going to speed this forward. I would read this letter to you, but I had surgery on my eye Friday, so I can't seem to read this. But I brought it in, so whoever wants a copy, I can give you a copy. After all of these months of investing not only my time, meeting with investors, meeting with tradesmen, meeting with, spending tons of money on this project, they told me that I wasn't able to move forward until the historical committee was able to approve the exterior. So, they gave us the approval to move ahead with the exterior of the building, and everything was done. The exterior is not totally finished because, of course, the sidewalk we can't do because we're laying concrete in the entire first floor. So it doesn't make sense to fix this outside because I have to roll concrete trucks in. Anyway, I received a letter on October 23rd that was very disturbing to me. I get a letter from this guy. He's a new guy here. He's letting me know that his name is Howard Kapari. He's the new community development manager here. And I read your, what he called preliminary architectural plans, and I cannot approve you to go forward. Now this is 11 months. There is no way on this side of heaven that I would have invested this much money, this much time, this much effort, this much energy and emotion if I didn't get the green light. They gave me the green light from start to finish. You can do this. He's saying, I can't see this, but if you need it, I have copies. He's saying that I can't approve this. I looked over your preliminary plans. I cannot approve this because of the zoning and the parking. The zoning, I would not have started this without knowing that I was zoned to move forward. So I didn't respond to him because I understand being in corporate America for 22 years in management. I understand when new people come into the municipality or wherever they're coming, they're really excited and trying to show themselves. I'm going to prove the point. I'm really trying to make things happen. So I did that. So I didn't call him. I called and scheduled a meeting with the mayor. I wanted to speak directly to the mayor. The meeting was scheduled with the mayor, and the mayor greeted us. I knew who was supposed to be at the meeting. I was going to be there. Someone from the building department was to be there. I knew that the owner of the building was to be there. I knew that Mark Marzell was to be there. What I didn't know, we sat down. The mayor greeted us, come in, I'll be in shortly. We sit down, and one extra person was there, which was the village attorney, city attorney. And I felt ambushed, one, because if I would have known that an attorney needed to be involved, I would have called both of my attorneys. So I didn't involve an attorney because I thought this was something I really wanted to meet with the mayor, you mayor. I wanted to meet with you and talk to you because we talked at length in your office about all of this. So this new person is telling me now at this meeting, and the attorney, she's, I felt patronizing, telling me that, asking did I look at the ordinances. Well, she didn't have the ordinance. She didn't know what was in the ordinances. I did better than that. I came into the municipality speaking with the people who I knew were supposed to be experts in this field. Well, this new person, Howard Kapare, he's saying in the meeting that, well, prior to him coming, the people who were in the meeting, who had given me the authority to move forward, they didn't have the expertise or experience or authority to tell me that I can go forward. In other words, it was total incompetence until he came along. Okay, that's my impression. They didn't have it. I'm skilled at this. I've been doing this for 20 years plus. I have certificates. I'll give you that. That's beautiful. But you can't just take me back. Because now he's saying, well, what you need to do now is go back for a variance. I'm not telling you that I'm going to approve this, but you have to go back for a variance. Are you serious? So now I have to start, I have to start over for something that I've been given the green light for 11 months? And I've invested so much in this? I didn't understand that. He goes, well, you're not starting over, you're moving forward. Patronizing. No, I'm not moving forward. The whole thing is now, so the attorney turns to the owner of the building and starts talking about his relationship with the Moraine Valley College, because he, built that out, and how they had to do a settlement, and all through this process, it's kind of like a joke about this owner. We charged him all this money and things like that. Well, see, I'm not impressed by that. I don't care about what happened in the past with this guy. I'm caring about my business coming into this municipality. I came here not just to be a business owner, but to be part of this village, this city. Really came here to try to make a difference if I could, help with some of the solutions. And then I get this. This was a bombshell that was dropped on me. Because now they're saying that, well, I'm not sure if I'm going to approve you. But I'm not understanding why I have to start all over again after 11 months of being given the green light. And now what they're doing, because they know that there's some consequences that could take place with this, and they're not good consequences. And so what they're doing now is telling the owner, they send a letter out to him, this Kapari again, saying, I walked around the building, and we see this needs to be done, we see this needs to be done, you haven't done this, you haven't done this. However, they allowed us to move forward for 11 months. 11 months they allowed this to take place. And so I take issue with this, because this is my livelihood. This is my business. And I've invested way too much. I could have gone anywhere. I chose Blue Island because it was central. I chose it because I thought I could help bring some synergy to this corner. I chose it because the people that I met were very welcoming, letting me know they're excited about it. Chamber of Commerce, they put me in. I have multiple emails, if anybody is interested in seeing them. Emails, strings telling me the next step, what to do next, what to do next. Okay, you have to do this. And I have that. And then you tell me now that I have to digress and go back? I don't think that that's fair to me. We're talking about justice for all. Well, give me some justice. I really asked for that. It's just not fair.
Thank you very much.
So from here, what do we do?
I think they told you what you have to do.
So
They said that you're not starting from my understanding, you're not starting from scratch. You're going to go before the committee that's in charge of variance, present your case, and then they're the ones that decide and vote, and then they bring it before the council.
my question is, why should I have to go for a variance with something they've already given me the green light to go
Well,
forward
again, there
with?
was issues as to the city parking lot. You can't give you just carte blanche in the city parking lot.
Well, tell
We
me
never
what,
gave it to Moraine Valley, we never gave it to the people at the Lyric Theater, we haven't given it to any business.
let me ask you this then. My meeting with you and my meeting with Mark Mazzal, when you had him come in and you told him, I said, look, they told me that this parking lot is pretty much vacant on Saturdays and Sundays. I came back and I spoke with you and I said, well, I've been seeing a lot of cars back there on the weekends because I drove over here. You said, Mark, you make sure this is taken care of. We mentioned the Metro parking lot. We mentioned all of that. So now it's like everybody just has a selective memory, nobody remembers saying any of this
The
stuff?
concept is great, the parking lot is there. Again, we gotta work together to make sure that all parties have access to the parking lot. Again, it's not used as much on the weekends on certain things, but again, depends on how many events you're gonna be bringing in. Is it every day? Is it multiple events on the same day? Because then you're dealing with the post office, the Eagles, yourself, Family Dollar, etc.
My question to you, Mayor, is the meeting that I had with you, you were blatant. Mark, take care of this. You don't have to worry about any parking.
I didn't say about take a care or anything. I said, go ahead and help her as best as we can.
That's not what was said.
All right.
That's definitely not what was said.
The project is phenomenal. I'm 110% behind you on that. The issues now are the parking. And that's where we have to sit down and figure out where we go from there.
See, they say it's the parking, and then they tell me it's the sprinkler system. And then they tell me it's the UTOD. What's really going on?
Well, here's the thing, that building has been in the system for quite some time, and it's been court orders to do it, and I think if you did your homework, you know that there were certain court orders that the owner, not you, had to comply with, and whether they haven't complied with, that's on him. And unfortunately, he's dragging you behind with him.
No, the municipality is, because I started with you. I didn't start with him. I started with him to view the building. I started with you, the city of Blue Island, to make sure, can I go forward? Can I go forward? Mayor, you assured me, and everybody else in that village, in that city, in that hall that I talked to, excited, let's do this.
I am excited because it has been almost like 20-some years and nothing's been done in that freaking building.
Yeah, you're excited. Okay. All right. So you're telling me that now I have to start over again? Because that's what a variance is. A variance is starting from the beginning. Please correct me if I'm wrong. A variance is starting from the beginning to say, we have to issue this first before you can get to that point. Please help me out with this. I'm serious because,
I'm not going to argue back and forth.
No,
right
it's not
now.
arguing. I need some assistance.
Well, again,
I need some clarity.
we'll have the professionals who will inform you as to what needs to be done. And they told you.
What is the variance? Is the variance not starting back over from the beginning?
They told you. I'm not going to argue with you. It's
I'm not
starting
arguing
back.
with you, Mayor.
We're going back and forth.
I'm asking you, what is the variance?
After the meeting, we'll sit down with all the parties and we'll sit down where we go.
We were supposed to do that and you never came into the meeting.
I had a family emergency.
Okay. All right. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Anyone else? If not, I'll move on to the next report resolution. I need the Petta family, if they could accompany me at the podium, please.
All of us. Come on, Julie.
If they want to, I'm not sure if I know. Did they take pictures or not?
Do you mind if we take pictures?
Sure, go ahead.
Just want to ask your permission before that's shut down.
Can you share it with us?
Sure, give me your business.
Take a picture with the mic.
I'll see.
All right, this is resolution number 2018-033. A resolution honoring Lawrence, also known as Larry Petta. Whereas certain individuals unselfishly volunteer and continuously provide acts of public service for the benefit of others. And whereas these individuals deserve recognition and thanks because they volunteer and perform these countless acts of community service selflessly. And whereas during his life, Lawrence, also known as Larry Petta, was one of these kind, generous, and dedicated persons who regularly volunteered his time and expertise to help make Blue Island the great community it is today. Whereas Larry was also a loving and dedicated father of 3 children, Thomas, Deborah, and Lorraine, wonderful grandfather of 6 grandchildren, and proud great-grandfather of 2 great-grandchildren. And whereas Larry, during his life, proudly served our country in the United States Army as member of the Army Corps of Engineers during the Korean conflict. Whereas Larry was also very active for many years in Calumet Township, serving as Democratic committeeman, township attorney, and township assessor. And whereas Larry also served the city of Blue Island under 3 mayors as city prosecutor. And whereas Larry also performed legal services as a hearing officer for the Secretary of State of Illinois. And whereas Larry distinguished himself as a lawyer, providing valuable legal advice for countless individuals in the private practice of law. And whereas throughout his entire life, Larry generously dedicated his time to many civic causes and quietly performed numerous acts of kindness for others without any thought of recognition for himself. And whereas Larry's lifetime of good works, public service, community involvement, and dedication to his family and the residents of Blue Island is deserving of special recognition and remembrance by all the citizens of Blue Island and County Township he helped and assisted. Now therefore it be resolved by the Mayor and City Council of the City of Blue Island, County of Cook, Illinois as follows. Section 1. That the Mayor and members of the City Council wish to memorialize Lawrence, also known as Larry Pettis, acts of kindness, generosity, and community service during his life, and remember him for all the goodwill he bestowed upon the residents of Blue Island in Calumet Township. Section 2. That the city clerk be and hereby authorized and directed to forward a certified copy of this resolution to the family of Lawrence, also known as Larry Pettis. That this resolution be in full force and effect and form after its passage and approved as provided by law. I need a motion by Alderman Vieira, second by Alderman Rita. Any questions? Roll call, please.
Carlin.
Aye.
Aye. Pittman. Or excuse me, Poulos.
Aye.
Poulos, aye. Johnson.
Aye.
Johnson, aye. Frausto.
Aye.
Frausto, aye. Vieta.
Aye.
Vieta, aye. Rita.
Aye.
Rita, aye. Holly.
Aye.
Holly, aye. Osling.
Aye.
Osling, aye. Thompson.
Aye.
Thompson, aye. 9 ayes, Your Honor.
I'm going to allow the opportunity now for the alderman who still remember who worked with him, who lived with him. If you want to make a comment, anybody? Our treasurer, go ahead, treasurer.
I just want to say that basically Mr. Pettit was always, my family's known him since 1955 or whatever. He's always been a kind, generous person. He's helped whatever he could with people in the community. And he was just a wise, very wise man, because I know that he graduated in cum laude from law school. He had a lot of integrity. He did a lot of services. And he reached out to a lot of people. And I want to thank you for having that privilege of knowing him. Thank you.
Any other alderman Vieira?
Yes. I was introduced to the politics of the city of Blue Island, and Larry Pettis was one of those individuals that grabbed me to a side and gave me pointers as how to conduct myself around the city of Blue Island, how to speak to the constituents. He was a good man, and I respected him a lot. Thank you for having Blue Island have Larry Pettis as one of our community service persons.
Anyone else? Go ahead.
Yeah, it was a pleasure for me to also meet Mr. Pettis. He told me to stop calling him Mr. Pettis, made me feel old. To call him Larry. We would eat at the different restaurants here in Blue Island, and he actually got him and John Spazzieri actually gave me pointers and people to know and meet and greet, warm invitations. He always a warm-hearted guy. He would laugh and crack jokes very, very seldom, but a very serious man about his politics and about what he and family was one. It was a pleasure meeting him.
Any other alderman? Go ahead.
I know Larry was a really good friend of my father's, and had a lot of good times with Larry as well. He sold me my first apartment on Union Street, so I went back with Larry. Be missed.
Any other alderman? Go ahead, Alderman Thompson.
Well, I met Mr. Pettis when he was having treatments at now Metro South Hospital, and my husband was a patient there, and he was having treatments also for congestive heart failure, and he was quite a guy. I enjoyed him very much. very proud of this man, the family.
Anyone else? Let me add this personally. The last couple months, maybe within the last couple of years, I will come across your father, your grandfather, your family member at the golf course. I think it was every Tuesday they would play cards up there with the group, the seniors. I would know him from there, from the car wash, from the other businesses that he owned along with the family. Well respected, an attorney, like myself. And in fact, it was maybe 5 or 6 years ago, I came across one of his former classmates from law school, who would, every time, wherever I would be, whether it was in Cook County, Lake County, wherever I came across his attorney, he would always ask me, how's Mr. Petta, how's Larry doing? You know, let him know that I'm okay, everything's well, wish him the best. Again, he's gone, but again, his memory, his legacy will live on. And he lives on amongst you as a family, and you have to keep going forward with that legacy and keep his name clean, as I know you will. He will be missed, but we've learned a lot over the years because of him. And Blue Island's a better place because of him. And I'm going to leave this opportunity. If any family member wants to say something, I'd be more than happy to do it. Thank you very much.
I'll speak for the group that was nominated. On behalf of the Pettit family, our sincerest thanks for the honor that you have given to our dad and grandfather, Larry Pettit. Larry was born here, raised his family here, was a successful lawyer, businessman, and politician, all of Blue Island, the town he loved. He never once thought of moving out of Blue Island, and when asked, he always replied, where can I go that is everything like Blue Island does? Thank you all very much.
Thank you. You know what? Stand right there. Stand right there.
I will send this to you. Hold still. Again.
Thank you very much. Regarding mayor's announcements, open Holly, would you like to, I know I'm a little bit ahead of you, but want to say something about Christmas? Light parade?
Yeah, the Christmas light parade and day is on Saturday, December 1st. We'll start with Kringle Mart at 2 o'clock in the afternoon in the parking lot between High and Union, right on Western Avenue. There'll be free rides for kids all afternoon from 2 until 6. The light parade's at 5:30. Following that, the Kringle Mart will still be open until 9 o'clock this year, and there'll be free pictures with Santa in the Santa house at that parking lot, and free horse-drawn wagon rides as well. And that they will also leave and end at that parking lot as well. So I hope everybody can come out and have a good day. If you would like to be in the parade, you can email me at believeinblueisland@gmail.com, and I can send you a application. We are always looking for as many people as would like to be in the parade. So come on out and have a great day in Blue Island on December 1st. The parade is going to kick off at the corner of Prairie and Western, and it's going to go down to New Street this year. So it's a little bit longer. We're starting a little bit further north, and we're going to end it at New Street this year. So so you can spread out and go further north. All right. So come on out and enjoy the day.
Applications are at City Hall as well.
Great.
Okay, Alderman, we're also having a fundraiser Thursday at Cousins Restaurant in Blue Island. So come out and have dinner with us, and is it 15% will go to the parade?
Right.
And then they're also going to have the same event at their Midlothian Cousins Restaurant. So if you don't make Thursday, you can hit them Friday. Or we're going to be at both of them, so come out and have a good time.
This Thursday, right?
This
Yes,
Thursday, yes.
you do have to mention it. So.
Let me add this to all the volunteers on that committee. You've done a fabulous job this year, you've done a fabulous job in years past. It's a lot of hard work, but in the long run, it's a time that everybody remembers and looks forward to every year for this parade and for the events, the Pringle Mark, etc. You had the mark last year, and it was a complete success, and I can't wait to see it again. Again, you're bringing people from all over the place, and again, I congratulate you and the committee and all the volunteers, whether we know them now or they will volunteer within the next couple of days. Again, thank you for your service to your community. The Maple Tree Inn, within the next couple of days, in the new location on York and Western, will be reopening. They started cooking, they started doing some test cooking, so I've seen that within the last couple of days. And to all veterans, that we should never forget. This has been a long weekend. We've been having veterans events, again, because of Armistice, the anniversary, 100th year anniversary Armistice, the war to end all wars, which unfortunately has not to this date. But again, Blue Island, whoever has attended any of the veterans events here in the city knows that since the Civil War and even before then, Blue Island has contributed to that list. Where families from Blue Island have made the ultimate sacrifice. And to this day, even there's soldiers, men and women, and now we include the canine units and all the animals as being part of that force, which are suffering because of mental or post-traumatic syndromes. We honor it. And it shouldn't be just once a year. It should be something that should be celebrated every year and recognized because of their sacrifice, or else you and me wouldn't be here serving them if it wasn't for their sacrifice, ultimately. City Clerk, any business?
No business.
Any bids?
No business.
City Treasurer.
Thank you, Aaron. First of all, before I go any further with my business for the city, last time the council requested Mr. Myers to attend to see if he could answer some questions or concerns, or you can tell him your concerns. Mr. Meyer?
From my understanding, there will be a meeting in the near future where he'll go more into detail. This is just a little bit of a summary of some of the concerns that have been brought up. Mr. Meyer, go ahead.
Thanks. The mayor and treasurer invited me out this evening to give you a little bit of information, and then I'll see if there's what kind of questions you might have. There's a couple of items coming up, not tonight. We're not going to vote on any of this stuff, information tonight. I just want to pass along a few numbers, just so you have a little bit of information for you for the future. The three areas that I'm going to cover, one is the tax levy. So that's going to need to be passed before the end of the year, not tonight, but before the end of the year. The possible issuance of tax anticipation warrants. And then also the appropriations ordinance. Where are we cash-wise in relation to the appropriations ordinance? I'll take the tax levy first. There is a draft document that was forwarded to the clerk and also to Mr. Marzell and Jan Osling. That'll be going to the full council at I believe the next meeting. Just a couple of highlights from that document. The levy request is just under 5%, so there's not going to need to be a truth in taxation hearing and whatnot. And you'll see the numbers when you see the document. One thing I did want to point out, there's two amounts related to pension funds. That was something that was voted on last year to increase the pension fund amounts. The document as it stands right now includes a 5% increase for both police and fire, and an additional amount which is for the fire pension that's called a non-capped tax levy. So that would add another 5% to the amount that the fire pension would be able to obtain once the taxes are levied. And that both of those amounts would push the levy request beyond what the minimum requirement is for the pension funds based on the actuarial study, both by about $40,000. So you'll see you won't see that $40,000 calculation or anything, but you will see the amounts, and the treasurer can provide those other amounts to you later on, the minimum number that the pension funds were looking for. So hopefully that'll all make sense to you when you see the document. We're also waiting on the library to give us their information. Once they do, I'll forward you, they're supposed to have that tomorrow, and I'll forward you a new copy, Mr. Heiser. The next item I wanted to talk about was tax anticipation warrants. That'll be something that'll get brought up. I would suggest that the city issue some warrants again to make sure we have enough money. Our cash position is projected to be better than it was at the end of last year. And right now, if you recall last year, the general fund ended 2017 with just a shade over 1.1 million of resources. We're projecting a shade over 1.4 million in cash and investments to bring us into the next year. So we're about a little less than 300,000 ahead of where we were. That's the projection. If we have a bad winter in December, I mean, things could change somewhat, but that's where we're looking to be at the end of December. Is better than last year by about 300,000. The water fund, if you'll recall, we began the year with 256,000 in cash. We're anticipating an improvement of about 200,000 in the water resources. So at the end of 18, we'll have about 200,000 cash more than we started the year with. A lot of that is due to the new rates, the water rates, the several months of collections that we'll have had really helped increase that, because we were actually projecting to be in the negative. So that went a long way towards saving the water fund. The last item was the appropriations ordinance. That'll be something that'll be discussed in the future. It won't. I don't even believe it'll be before the end of the year, but just something to keep keep on your radar, and knowing that we're doing pretty well this year as compared to what the budget was for 2018. We've actually had more revenues than expenditures, so and that's what we're projecting to end the year with. We'll have final numbers to you, obviously, once the year closes out. Again, informational only. We're not voting on anything tonight. Just wanted to throw out some estimates and some numbers for you, so you know what to be looking for.
And again, Mr. Meyer is going to have we'll have a special meeting where we'll come back and address it more into detail. This is just to give information. Okay.
Are there any questions about what I mentioned, or any other numbers that you're looking for to help you make future decisions?
Go ahead.
Okay. How close for this trajectory to put us into a position to have a budget instead of appropriation?
Well, that would be up to you if you wanted to have both, or to switch from one to the other. That's your decision to make.
Okay, I was just looking at the numbers. You know, you was talking about appropriating, and where we were at with the water, like around 200, and with the tax levy being just under 5%. So my thing is, if you're in a household and your finances are restricted, you don't really appropriate your finances, you budget your finances. So I was just wondering, how close are we to having a budget to take us to the next level?
Well, we're basically using our appropriations ordinance as our budget. So there's only been one document that's been officially passed in the past. Again, though, you can, if you want to make a management type budget to go by and work off of that, and have an appropriations ordinance that would give you the legal authority to spend up to a given amount, and then maybe have a second budget, that would be, again, up to you.
Yeah, I was just talking about doing budget by eliminating pretty much the black hole in general fund.
Okay, I'm not sure I'm following you with the black hole.
Okay, we actually have things that go in to a certain account a certain way, and then comes out another way. But what I'm saying is that we have things more or less earmarked, point to point, instead of having appropriating 10,000. And like, say, for instance, the fire department might need whatever, where we go to. I think when you budget something, you have things set aside or geared towards whatever the bottom line is. Instead of appropriating gives us a general expectation of something, but budgeting gives us a bottom line figure.
Okay, I understand the words you're saying. I guess from a standpoint of, are you looking for a completely balanced budget, knowing and then estimating your revenues and then budgeting based on
Our savings,
those revenues?
you know, based on getting us, you know, our savings, or what we can see what we can do to help move this city forward. Otherwise, we still running around chasing our tail. That's what I'm asking.
Okay, well, that might be a discussion for a future date then.
Okay.
Alderman, go ahead.
Okay, so the fire department exceeded the appropriation. So where is that money coming from to cover that? Is it coming through from the water increase, or?
No, it's not coming from the water increase. Sure, come on up.
Thank you, Alderman Rita. If you include the salaries and the overtime, which you should include within the department, they are under budget. They are under the appropriated amount for the entire department.
It was discussed that it had exceeded the appropriation.
It was discussed that if you remove salaries and overtime, it is exceeded. But you can't do that when you look at appropriations. You have to look at the entire department. And when you include salaries and overtime, including all their expenses, they are under the appropriated amount for the department.
Yeah, I don't have all the details in front of me of where each line item stands in relationship to what the appropriations ordinance was. But if any amounts were to exceed the budgeted or appropriated amount.
The line item?
Right, the money is just coming out of general revenues.
Okay.
So that when you pass your tax levy and you're not saying that exactly this $1 is going to go to pay this one bill. I mean, it goes into a giant pot of money, if you will, and that pot of money is being used to pay all the bills out of the general fund.
Not the line item?
Well, the line item is the expenditure.
Right.
So we're, and again, I don't have all the figures in front of me from what was passed last year, but the appropriations ordinance that was passed allowed you to spend up to a certain dollar amount. The actual revenues to cover those expenditures, there wasn't enough revenues to cover all the expenditures.
Okay, I was under the impression that we weren't able to cover it. I'm sorry, that we were over. I misspoke.
Okay.
Okay.
Any other questions? If not, again, there's going to be a future meeting where everything's going to go into detail. We'll talk about it.
Yeah, okay. Hopefully that'll give you at least some starting point. And really, if you need other things, let me know. Let Mike Marzal know, and we'll get that. If that information is available, we'll get that information for you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
You know, I'm sorry, I do have just one quick question.
Sure.
What are we estimating on for the tax anticipation warrant this year? Are we estimating 500,000 or what are we?
The plan would be to ask her to go up to 500,000. If we don't need that much, we could back off. or we get the full 500, we make sure we have enough just in case there's an emergency, that we have the funds to cover that, and then as soon as the property taxes start coming in late February and then into March, we would have the resources to pay back a portion or all of those
So
warrants.
I don't expect you to give me a definite number right now, but what is that ballpark number we're looking at right now? Is the city looking to, as far as finance-wise, would we be looking at less? I mean, I know you're projecting at 500,000, but could it actually be looking like we would only need to borrow a lesser amount? Because I know years previously we were at $1 million, and obviously we've been improving our financial status, and now we've cut that down to $500,000. So.
Right, if you recall, right, I think it was 2 years ago it was $1 million, or 3 years ago it was $1 million, the last 2 years was 500,000, although the prior year, not 2017, but 2016, we had trouble because we didn't have enough cash to make all the payments that we needed to. Last year was very, very close. I think we were able to pay all the vendors promptly, and which wasn't the case in 2016. And now in 2018, I'm sorry, my fault, 16, 17. In 2018, we're able to pay all the vendors. Now into 2019, with starting with a better, or at least we're projecting a higher cash balance to start with. If we had the 500,000, I think we wouldn't have any problem at all, at least based on the projections right now, we wouldn't have any problem at all paying all our bills when they become due. Which could even lead, if we have another successful year of increasing the cash balance, hopefully in 2020, we wouldn't need any tax anticipation. That would be the goal.
Go ahead, Alderman. Thank you.
Do we have the funds to cover the accounts payable now?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Mike.
Okay.
Mr. Trustee, go ahead.
Like Mayor and I just said, basically that on the 27th will be you should have a full presentation for you with all more specific numbers and everything else in detail. And the pension, Foster and Foster will also be giving you a full presentation for fire and police. And hopefully the library board will be coming and giving their presentation also for their annual report. Going to my business, all of us should receive the reconciliation statement ending October 31st, 2018. I need a motion.
Your motion is by Alderman Osley, second by Alderman Carr. Any questions? Roll call.
Carr.
Aye.
Carr, aye. Poulos.
Aye.
Poulos, aye. Johnson.
No.
Johnson, no. Fausto.
Aye.
Fausto, aye. Vieta.
Aye.
Vieta, aye. Rita.
Aye.
Rita, aye. Hawley.
Aye.
Hawley, aye. Osling.
Aye.
Osling, aye. Thompson.
Aye.
Thompson, aye. 8 ayes and 1
Thank you very much.
Next, transfer of funds from unrestricted and restricted funds, a total of $694, $510.91. And I'd like to break that down for you. Out of TIF 5, there's a total of $609, $131.68 coming out. Out of that, $579,868 is for the Metro South. Annual rebate from the TIF that we give them. And $25,000 goes to LAC, a total of $609. That's the main one.
You need a motion, anything?
No,
No?
no,
Okay, got it. Anything else?
Thank you.
Thank you. City Attorney?
Just one resolution on the agenda. It's resolution number 2018-031, a resolution approving and authorizing a settlement agreement for in-rate proceedings relating to City of Blue Island business and liquor license issued to Blue Island Sports Bar and Grill, Inc., 2018 BI LLCC-01. This agreement now puts to rest all of the pending litigation between the city and the Island Sports Bar and Grill.
Need a motion?
Yes.
Motion by
No motion. I have a
I mean,
question.
motion by Alderman Osling, second by Alderman Poulos. Any questions? Go ahead.
Yes, I have a question. On this approval of the license of the bar grill, this young man was put through hell in the city of Blue Island. He was brought before a kangaroo court, treated unfairly by the city. And the main alderman, I find out from you, Attorney Horvath, in the special meeting, when you stood at the podium and told everybody at that finance committee meeting, the main players in this suit to be vigorously push against Mr. Shorter was done by two of our aldermen who are not present tonight. Alderman Bellato and Alderman Horvath, and Alderman Donahue.
Please don't elevate me, okay?
No, I don't need to do that. But I think this is a disgrace to the city of Blue Island. This was a well-educated young man who came to this city. And we see from national news, we can't control crazy. We've had 11 people killed recently, and then 12 people killed. We have no control of crazy nationally, and we don't have controls of crazy in the city of Blue Island. He was ramrodded and treated poorly by you, Mayor, by you, Mr. Horvath. You smeared his name. He's a decent young black man. But I'm telling you, I stand up for my black guys. Don't grin in my face, a black woman, when you demonize a black man. Don't do it to me. Don't do it. Because I don't like it. And I want you to know it. You and the mayor and this whole city council, you drug him through the dirt and demonized his name. That's what you did.
Let me end it at this, Alderman. I'm not.
You don't have to end it. I've said what I'm going to say.
Anybody.
You certainly did.
The litigation.
There are a million water holes in this town and a lot of crap that goes on there. But it wasn't brought before a circus like Mr. Shorter was.
The litigation is over.
It sure is over.
Provided, of course, the resolution is adopted.
We have a motion, we have a second. Roll call, please.
Carr.
Aye.
Carr, aye. Poulos.
Aye.
Poulos, aye. Johnson.
Aye.
Johnson, aye. Frausto.
Aye.
Frausto, aye. Vieta.
Aye.
Vieta, aye. Rita.
Aye.
Rita, aye. Hawley.
Aye.
Hawley, aye. Osling.
Aye.
Osling, aye. Thompson.
No, hell no.
Thompson, no. 8 ayes, no nays.
Thank you very much. Committee reports, Community Development Committee.
No report, Your Honor. We did not meet on November 7th. Our next meeting will be on Tuesday, December 4th at 7:30 p.m.
Thank you very much. Finance Committee?
Yes, Finance Committee met on November 7th. Members present, Alderman Vieira, Hawley, Farnwell, Thompson, Osling, Alderman Fausto absent. Also present, Treasurer Bellato, Janelle Hunt, Jason Franken from Foster & Foster, and Bob Napa. Mr. Jason Franken from Foster & Foster made a presentation on the police and firefighters pension fund. On November 27th, Mr. Franken will make a full presentation to the City Council. Finance Committee approved the following accounts payable for October 3rd, 2018 in the amount of $964,917.18. Some of the large invoice items are Metro South real estate tax rebate. This is the final payment to Metro South for the 2017 real estate tax, and this is coming out of their TIF in the amount of $579,868.05. The next large invoice item is the employees' medical health insurance, $147,883.88, and we also had a $24,957.47 for the medical health. Meadows Golf Club lift station, engineering, Mecon Industries, that was $36,255.90. The Division Street over Calsag Channel Engineering to Lochner, this was $25,000, and there was a legal claim to Delgado Law Group for $20,461.65. The committee tabled the IGI grant payment for $504,415 for further review. This is the Longwood area project, and this is the Antero group. So I need a motion. I'm asking for a motion for the accounts payable.
You got a motion, do you have a second, Alderman Vera? Any questions? Go ahead, Alderman.
I just have one question. That Mecon Industries for the lift station, I guess I don't understand what a lift station is. It looks like it was charged to the water department.
Leachate, it's not a lift station.
Is that leachate?
Yes, this is the leachate system at the.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
All right. It just said lift station. I'm good. Thank you.
We got a motion, we got a second, roll call, please.
Carr.
Aye.
Carr, aye. Kulos.
Aye.
Kulos, aye. Johnson.
Aye.
Johnson, aye. Fausto.
Aye.
Fausto, aye. Vieta.
Aye.
Vieta, aye. Rita.
Aye.
Rita, aye. Holly.
Aye.
Holly, aye. Osling.
Aye.
Osling, aye. Thompson.
Aye.
Thompson, aye. 9 ayes.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
We also had a payroll, we had two payrolls. One for 10/19/2018 in the amount of $344,279.35. I'm asking for a motion to approve.
Got a motion, do we have a second, Alderman Holly? Any questions? Roll call, please.
Carr.
Aye.
Carr, aye. Kulos.
Aye.
Kulos, aye. Johnson.
Aye.
Johnson, aye. Fausto.
Aye.
Fausto, aye. Vieta.
Aye.
Vieta, aye. Rita.
Aye.
Rita, aye. Holly.
Aye.
Holly, aye. Osling.
Aye.
Osling, aye. Thompson.
Aye.
Thompson, aye. 9 ayes.
Thank you very much.
The next payroll was for November 2nd, 2018, in the amount of $318,067.44. I'm asking for a motion to approve.
We have a motion, and I thought Alderman Rita, yet the last time you wanted to do it, this one second? Sure. Second, this one. Any questions? Roll call, please.
Carr.
Aye.
Carr, aye. Kulos.
Aye.
Kulos, aye. Johnson.
Aye.
Johnson, aye. Fausto.
Aye.
Fausto, aye. Vieta.
Aye.
Vieta, aye. Rita.
Aye.
Rita, aye. Holly.
Aye.
Holly, aye. Osling.
Aye.
Osling, aye. Thompson.
Aye.
Thompson, aye. 9 ayes.
Thank you.
The committee also reviewed the treasurer's report. No further business. Motion to adjourn at 8:18. Our next meeting is November 20th, 2018, 7 o'clock in the East Annex.
Thank you very much. Public Health and Safety Committee.
Yes, Your Honor, these are the minutes for the meeting of October the 9th. Present were Deputy Chief Brian Arzab, Chief Dan Rita, Chief Don Marchbanks, Alderman Kevin Donahue, Alderman Kevin Pittman, Alderman George Poulos, and myself. Absent were Chief King and Alderman Dexter Johnson. Also in attendance was Mike Marzell, Treasurer Carmine Bellato, Captain Sarah Kaiser, and Scott Conger. The meeting was called to order at 6:02. The minutes of the previous meeting were motion for approval by Alderman Poulos, second by Alderman Pittman, motion carried. Under the fire department are 228 EMS responses, 115 fire responses, and 36 auto aid responses. Medical reimbursement services collected were $38,601.40 in the month of September. Fire recovery received in September was $632, and false alarm fire fees collected were $320. Calls of interest: on September 11th, there was a house fire at 12318 Aberdeen in Calumet Park. And on September 22nd, there was a garage fire at 4596 West 131st Street in Alsip. Under general information, union negotiations are ongoing. Under maintenance, ambulance 2162 is still out of service. Estimated repairs are $98,000. This ambulance is 16 years old. Chief Rita is asking for money and appropriations for a new ambulance. Under fire prevention, Inspector Whitlock spent the month conducting 15 annual inspections and 2 re-inspections. Lieutenant Zielinski submitted for and received on the open 7G positions for fire inspector. MABUS 22 will be using Flow MSP for pre-planning. All hydrants are uploaded into this program. The fire department conducted school fire drills. Under training, members completed 377.5 hours of training in September. The fire department has been working with Target Solutions as part of their training. Under EMS, Chief Rita has selected ImageTrend to be our EMS reporting software provider. Alderman Carr stated that our software budget is now overdrawn for the fire department. Mike Marzell said that account coding for software was being reviewed. Chief Rita said Orland Park offered to let us use their software at a cost of $900 a month. A discussion followed. Chief Rita agreed to ask for more information. A motion to table by Alderman Pittman, second by Alderman Poulos. Under the AFG grant, the grant has been applied for. This would be used to replace a fire engine. Under the SAFER grant was awarded to Blue Island. And as a note, we are not obligated to keep the firefighters hired under the SAFER grant. Training facility on MWRD property. Mike Marzell stated that the MWRD is requiring a $4 million policy for the training facility. The city currently has $1 million in insurance for all MWRD property. There's not money in the budget at this time. Under the police department, recruits Guillermo Anaya and Eric Herrera were appointed as full-time police officers with the Blue Island Police Department. Their training will conclude on November 30th. Thereafter, they will each begin a 12-week field training program at the police department. Under Lexipol, the Blue Island Police Department is working with Lexipol to review and update its policies and procedures. Training with Lexipol has begun. A target rollout date of January 2019 has been established. Under training, Sergeant Connors completed a 16-hour sexual assault investigator training. Chief King and Corporal Navarro attended School of Police Staff and Command. Detective Warniak and Detective Strezzo attended a use of force workshop for patrol officers. Officer Stamer attended realistic de-escalation training. Sergeant Pabelniak and Detective Delgadillo attended procedural justice and police legitimacy 1. And Corporal Donica attended police supervisory liability and first line supervisory skills. Under injuries, Officer Ciccarillo sustained an on-the-job injury on May the 30th. A projected return date is still unavailable. And Officer Rhodes sustained an on-the-job injury to his leg on August the 8th. A projected return date is unavailable. There was 2,112 calls in the month serviced in the month of October. At the time I did this report, I did not give the exact amount of money collected for the month of September. Under community engagement, the Blue Island Police Department hosted an observance ceremony for September 11th, the National Day of Service and Remembrance. The police department assisted local schools with their annual walkathons. They assisted the Blue Island Park District's barbecue on the hill. And the police department assisted the Robbins Police Department with their annual back-to-school parade. Under recovered firearms, 2 firearms were recovered in September. And Mike Marzell spoke briefly about leasing vehicles for the police, fire, and public works departments. Deputy Chief Arzab spoke about the need for a new police server. The old server is running out of capacity. The email server has an end life date of 2020. There was a health inspection report, and under the Blue Island EMA, they contributed 382 hours to community events, Chicago filming operations, mutual aid, and administration. Under Alderman's concerns, Alderman Poulos asked about the police department and fire department coordinating efforts for school fire drills and lockdown drills. He also asked about the responsibility for down power lines. Chief Rita replied that the fire department had secured the area of the power line in question, but that ComEd is responsible. Chief Marchbanks replied that the down line was actually an AT&T line. Alderman Poulos asked about how the city is addressing the transport of dangerous chemicals through the city by the railroads. Alderman Donahue expressed concern about continuing incidents at 12834 Lincoln and asked if the building department could be notified. Alderman Carr asked about how the performance report for the police department is calculated, and Alderman Poulos asked about parking tickets being collected. The meeting was adjourned at 6:55. Our next meeting was supposed to have been tonight, but we did not have a quorum. Our next meeting will be December 11th at 6 o'clock.
Thank you very much. Municipal Services Committee?
We have a meeting set for November 27th at 6 p.m. in the East End.
Thank you very much. Judiciary Committee? No report? Any automatic announcements or comments? Alderman, go ahead.
Yes, Chief. The Blue Island Untouchables junior level is playing for the Super Bowl this Sunday at 2:30 at Morton High School in Hessville, Indiana. You guys come out and support us. Really appreciate it.
Alderman, so you can educate all of us and you can educate me. When they won the championship back, it was in 85 or 2000?
It was 2006, Chief.
2006.
That was the national championship where they played in Kissimmee, Florida at the Wide World of Sports.
Correct. And whoever hasn't seen it, that trophy is up in the mayor's office on the hallway. So again, that's a tribute to the coaching, the Untouchables, the staff, the dedication of volunteers of our youth. Thank you.
And we got Rick Fisk, who's been around the organization for like 36 years. He's actually retiring, so
That's what I
this
heard.
is his last year.
You know what, if you could give me some information, and maybe with the permission of the council, maybe we can do a little resolution on his behalf.
No problem.
Thank you very much. Any other Alderman? Alderman, go ahead.
Yes, I was wondering about the St. Walter's Cleanup Arts, where we were at with that. I know that we passed it, was it?
Well, here's the situation, and I think it's a little bit delicate, where the cleanup arts, I think it has to be within the city, correct?
No, it's fine.
Okay.
They just presented the certificate of insurance
Okay.
last Thursday, I believe it was, so they're going to start this week. And St. Benedict's, I believe, is going to be coming to see me. I got a phone call yesterday. St. Benedict's is going to be presenting their certificate of insurance. So the holdup with the two Catholic churches was that the Archdiocese would not let them use their blanket coverage, so they had to get individual coverage for each parish that's going to do this. So that's what's taken that so long. So St. Benedict's and St. Walter's need to get their own insurance outside of their diocese.
Okay. Anybody else? If not, I think we need a motion to return to executive session. Need a motion by Alderman Rita, we have a second by Alderman Cortez.
Need a motion to go into executive session to discuss setting of a price for sale or lease of property owned by the public body, discussion of collective bargaining agreements with MAP, BFFA, and APSI, and discussion of pending and imminent litigation.
There you go. Pneumonia. Pneumonia.
So, I lost it in the mail, right?
Down there.
Obviously, you want to
Yes, we got to come back in, we got to convene.
Motion to reconvene, we have a motion by Alderman Carr, second by Alderman Poulos. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, go ahead.
Yeah, Carr.
Here.
Here. Poulos. Here. Johnson. Here. Frausto. Here. Rita.
Here.
Here. Rita.
Here.
Here. Holly. Here. Here. Osling.
Here.
Briefly, in closed session, we discussed the possible lease of property. No final decision was made. We also discussed imminent litigation and whether the city should go forward. No decision was made. We discussed pending litigation and the potential settlement. No final decision was made. The city attorney was directed to attempt to proceed further with the settlement. And we discussed labor negotiations with the collective bargaining units in the city of Blue Island, specifically MAP, BIPFFA, and AFSCME, and certain authority was provided to the city attorney to proceed further in the negotiations. I think that was all of the topics discussed.
Okay. Thank you. Now I need a motion for adjournment. Motion by Alderman Poulos, second by Alderman Rita. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Have a good night, everyone. Thank you very much.